But that drought in Texas has led to a pretty amazing discovery. 113-million-year-old dinosaur tracks appeared in a dried up river at Dinosaur Valley State Park. To discuss this, I'm joined by the park superintendent, Jeff Davis. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's just get right to it. Which dinosaur do we think the tracks belong to?
Well, it's a little bit of a mouthful, but the dinosaur we're looking at in that picture you just showed is called Acrocanthosaurus. We call it Acro for short.
Okay, I like the short form.
Mm-hmm.
And just tell us a little bit about the discovery and how it was made, really.
Absolutely. So, we've known tracks are in the river at Dinosaur Valley. That's why the park is here. It's been here 50 years. People knew about these tracks going back over 100 years before that. And I'm certain that Native Americans knew about it long before that. But, these particular tracks are ones that have been covered in silt and gravel and water for many decades. And so, they tend to get exposed very, very rarely. These belong to Acro, which is a little bit like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, big bipedal, two-legged, meat-eating dinosaur. But it lived about 113 million years ago, a lot longer ago than T-Rex was walking the earth.
They're pretty spectacular. Can you just describe how your team there discovered them? I mean, did the water just evaporate and there they were, or was there a little digging involved once that river dried up?
Sure. The tracks slowly become exposed as the river dries up over a period of weeks and months. When you clean out a dinosaur track, you don't want to just go after it and scrape it really hard and damage it. And so it's done with a combination of leaf blowers, hands, whisk brooms. You can see one of our rangers there with a leaf blower clearing out that track. And so it's done to as best we can to not damage them any further than Mother Nature's going to through the process of erosion. So it's such a cool experience. You look at these things and you realize that this is not a movie monster. This is not some creature from a fantasy story. This is an animal that walked across the earth. You can see the mud that was squished up between their toes as they walked along this ancient seashore 113 million years ago. And it just really brings it home that this was a real creature.
Was there anything surprising about the findings?
One of the tracks that we found there was it had the pads of the dinosaur's foot. If you mashed the palm of your hand in and you saw the kind of creases in the palm of your hand, it was basically like that, but from a dinosaur foot. And so that kind of detail preserved for that length of time is just mind-blowing to me.
Well, was it not mind-blowing to you that these were preserved? I mean, I'm thinking underwater, the silt, the sludge, that these tracks were actually preserved underwater, which really, we're used to seeing sand and dirt and sludge move underneath rivers.
Absolutely. And one of the amazing things about the tracks is that there's lots and lots of them that we have not seen yet. These are exposed by the Paluxy River, which is a pretty short river that runs here into the Brazos in Texas. And without the river, they would never have been exposed. But because of the river, the silt and the limestone that was above them got washed away, and that's how we're able to see these things. So it is pretty amazing, the fact that they've been preserved. That dinosaur existed long before humans did, and it's just amazing to think of the time scale that we're looking at.
Jeff, what happens from here? Are water levels in that river expected to rise? Are we going to say goodbye to these tracks?
So water levels have already risen. We've gotten a couple of smaller storms since these tracks were uncovered. And so we've gone down and seen that most of the ones that we're seeing in these photos are now at least full of water. Some of them have already filled back up with silt. Everything here, this is an erosional zone, so everything is very temporary. And even the existence of the tracks is temporary because they will eventually wash away thanks to erosion. But there are, who knows, untold numbers of other tracks under those limestone ledges you see that may be exposed in the future.
Okay, well, we'll look for an update, but we'll just enjoy this for now. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Dinosaur Valley State Park Superintendent Jeff Davis, thank you.
Thank you.